Today we are going to start with practical number 2, and almost it will take 2 lectures to complete the practicals. In this practical, if you notice that already we did all these programs, that is function overloading, constructor overloading, inheritance, all types we have seen. Then we have already seen the interfaces, okay? But now all these questions are part of your practical number 2B. Last lecture we have seen practical number 2A, and in today's session we are going to start with the practical number 2B, which is having total 4 questions. But in 4 also the second question, that is inheritance. So we have to include all the types, and as we all know that we are having total 5 types of inheritance. And in that also multiple inheritance is nothing but the actually interface. So I have added that type of inheritance in interface only. So without wasting time, let's start with the practicals. So your first practical is function overloading. Practical number 2B1 is function overloading. So for this particular practical, I have decided the interface as the messages which you are able to see in the right top window, that is addition of 2 integer value, addition of 3 integer value. All these 3 messages are displayed in the labels. Okay, so for function overloading practical, first you have to take 3 labels, and after 3 labels you have to use one button, that is add button. Okay, I have changed the text property of the button 1 to add. This is the reason why the add is visible. So this is the interface. So all these 4 controls, that is 3 labels and one button, you have to take from the toolbox of ASP.NET. Now so this is your ASPX page, and now we are moving to our ASPX.cs where we are doing actual coding. So this is our coding part. Before starting with the coding, you should know that is what is function overloading, right? So if we are using the same function name but making difference in 2 things, either number of parameters or the type of the parameters, then we can say that that particular program is nothing but the function overloading, because we are using the same function for different purposes. Okay, so basically function overloading comes under polymorphism. In polymorphism we are having 2 types, compile time and runtime polymorphism. So function overloading is an example of compile time polymorphism. So again the programs which we have learned in last practical, we create one user defined class, okay, and we are creating the object of that particular class inside our default class. So again same methodology we are going to follow for this practical also. We will create our own class in which we actually implement the question logic, and in default class, which is by default present in the .cs page, that in that we are just going to call the methods, variables of the class using the object. Okay, user defined class using the object. So just see the program. First I have created class A, which is user defined class. In class A I have created 3 methods. Okay, the method name of all 3 method is same, that is add, but there are 2 difference. If we compare first add method and second one, then even though they are having same name, but there is difference in number of parameters. First add method is having 2 parameters and second add method is having 3 parameters. If we compare second add and third add, not the third add, if we compare first add and third add, so first one is dealing with the integer values and the third add method is dealing with the float value. So both the name of the method is same, that is add, and both the methods are having same parameters only. First and third method is having same parameter, but the difference is in type. In first add we have used integer values, we are working with the integer variables, and in third add method we are working with the float. So this is what I said, that is function overloading means we will use same method name, but we will try to make changes in two things, either number of parameters or type of parameters. Okay, so this is the actual program, and in each and every method we have not used void as a return type. For the method we have used int, float as a return type, so definitely we have to return some value. So there is no special logic. In each and every add method we have taken either 2 or 3 values, okay, and we are just displaying the addition of these values. So just see the first add method, we are having two parameters a, b. So in that particular method we are returning the value as a plus b, means we are adding a and b. Similarly, in second add method we are having three parameters, so we are going to return addition of these three variables, that is return a plus b plus c. And in third add method we are having two float parameters, so again we have to perform addition only, so we will return a plus b. So this is user defined class in which we have implemented the function overloading. Now the next part, that is the default class, which is present in your aspx.cs file. In that we are going to create object of class A. Okay, so a obj. After that, in page load event we have actually created first, before page load we have just declared the class and its object name, and in page load event we are actually going to create object by writing obj equal to new a. New keyword is very important for object creation. Then as we have decided in the interface, we are having three labels and one button. So simply double click on add button, you will get this particular event, button 1 underscore click. In that event you just have to write down the, or you want to display the result. So after clicking on button 1, the respective label will show you the result of respective add method. So for the same, you just need to write the code as label1.text. Three labels are there, label 1, label 2, label 3. So label 1.text equal to the message you want to give or you want to display inside the label, just put that message within double quotes. So in first label we are going to call the first add, which contains two integer values, and it performs the addition of two integer variable, and this is the reason why I have given the sentence as label1.text equal to within double quotes addition of two integer values, colon, we will call the first add, that is we will write name of object is what, obj. So obj dot add into round bracket we will provide two parameters 120 45. From the parameters only compiler will come to know which add you want to call upon the values. Okay, so these parameter value are very important. After that, on second label, label 2, we want to display addition of three integer values. So for the same we need to write the code as label2.text equal to addition of three integer values plus obj dot add into round bracket pass three integer value 120 45 542. You can pass any values. And on label 3 we want to display the result of third add method, which is dealing with the floating values. So label 3 dot text equal to addition of two float values plus obj dot add into round bracket 1.20f 4.5f. If you are not writing f after each and every value, then that particular value will be considered as integer one, and the numbers which are present before decimal of the number which you have provided, only that number addition will be performed. Means if I am not writing f 1.20f, then it will take 1 from first number and the second number is 4.5, so it will take 4 from the second number. So 1 plus 4, 5 you will get as an answer. It will not perform the addition of the values which are present after decimal. So it is very important. From that f, the compiler will come to know that I want to call the add method which is dealing with the float values. Okay, so this is your first program of practical number 2b, function overloading. Then practical number 2b, second question is inheritance. We have to explain all types of inheritance. So in this practical session I have included total 4 inheritance. I have not included hybrid because hybrid is normally like a multiple inheritance only. So we have to make use of interface. And again we are separately having question on interface. So why we should write the same question again and again? Better to write that particular program in interface section only. So in types of inheritance I have added 3 types: single, multi-level and hierarchical inheritance. So the first A is nothing but a single inheritance, and the interface which I have decided for this practical is just take a button from the toolbox and change the text of that button equal to single inheritance. Okay, so this is your .asps page, and once you double click on the button single inheritance you will get your aspx.cs page, on which we are actually going to write the concept of inheritance. So it's very clear to you that in single inheritance we are having single parent and single child class. So again here also, other than the by default class which is present in .aspx.cs, before that class we will create our own class. Okay, so first I have created class A, which contains one method, that is show, which returns base class as a text. After that I have created one more class B which inherits A. How to show inheritance? How to inherit a specific class? By writing colon and then name of the class. So just see the declaration of class B. Public class B colon A I have written. Means class B is inheriting all the attributes, all the values, methods of class A. And in class B is again having its own method, that is display, in which we have written derive class. Okay, in place of written statement, or if you want void function you can make use of void also. Means in place of string write down void, and then in that case you don't need to return any value. You can write response dot write within double quotes the message which you want to give, that you can pass to the response dot write. So again it is totally depend upon you. I have used written type of functions. So this is class A which is parent class, and class B A which is derived class. And as we all know that there is one advantage of inheritance is we don't need to create so many objects. Normally we create object of the last derived class. So in our case we are having B as a derived class, only single derived class we are having, because we are performing single inheritance. So definitely we are going to create object of class B. And where we will create the object of class B? Definitely in the default class of .aspx.cs. So just see the second half portion. Now here before page load normally we declare the name of the class and objects, then inside page load method we create the object. That is again right way, it's not wrong. But here if you don't want to write declaration separately, then creation of object separately, then also we can do is just write down or just create the object creation on button click only, because what we want, everything should be performed after clicking on the button only. So we can create object of a class inside button. Okay, button click event. So just see the button one underscore click. I hope you know that from where this code will appear. You just have to double click on single inheritance button, then this particular event will open, button one underscore click. In that event just create the object. B is the name of the class, and it is the derived class whose object we are creating. So B obj equal to new B, and then response dot write we called the show method of class A with the help of B's object only, because we did the inheritance. So all the methods which are present in class A are automatically derived in B. This is the reason why with the help of B's class object we can call the A's class method. So the same thing we did here, response dot write into round bracket obj is the object of B class dot show, and show method is a method of class A, plus br. Br is, you all know that it is a break tab, because of which the next response.write will be printed on new line. And second response.write we have called the display method of class B by writing obj.display. Once you have written this program, just run the program. You just have to simply click on single inheritance button. After clicking on single inheritance button, you will get to see the messages. That is base class, derived class. Base class is the statement which is written by the show method of class A. And derived class, it is a statement which is written by the display method of the class B. So in the sequence in which call the method, in that sequence only we are going to get the output. First we have called show. This is the reason why base class sentence is display. Then we have called display, because of which derived class sentence is display. So this is single inheritance. Then we have multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance means at each and every layer the parent will change. Means for that we have taken the example of A class, which is derived by the B, and then B class, which is again derived by the C. So for C, B is the parent, and for B, A is the parent. So that structure only we are going to implement. So again for this practical also, I have taken interface as a single button. So you just have to take one button from the toolbox and just change the text property of that button to multi-level inheritance. And then simply double click on the multi-level inheritance button. You will get to see the aspx.cs page on which we are going to write the program. So let's see the program. So this is your program. In this again, as I said, I have created three class A, B, C. So first class which we have created, which contains show method, and it returns the class A as a statement. Then I have created one more class, that is class B, which inherit class A. Okay, and B contains its own method display, which returns class B. Okay, after that I am having class C, which inherits class B. So as I said, in multi-level, at each level parent change. So from this example, what you will come to know, that class C is the last derived class whose parent is B and B's parent is A. So A's content, that is A show method, is automatically come inside B, and as C is inheriting the B, okay, then indirectly all the methods or variables which are present inside of class A will be inherited by the C. So in simple words, with the help of the last derived class, in our case which one is the last derived class? Class C. So with the help of class C, we can call all the methods of class A as well as class B, and definitely C's object we are going to create, so definitely we will call its own method also. So this is your multi-level inheritance. These three classes I have created, and after that on button 1_click you just simply have to create object of class C, and with the help of object of class C just call all the methods, that is show method of class A, display method of class B, and get method of class C. So you will get the output as all the three sentences. As we call show method first, so first sentence will be class A. Then we have called display method, which is part of class B, so it will return a statement as class B. And then we have called get method, so definitely get method is a part of class C, so its statement, that is class C, is called. So this is your program. Again the execution is same. After writing this particular code, just run the program. You will able to see only the button as output previously. Just double click on the button, then whatever program or whatever methods we have called, that will automatically get